What is up, boys and girls, and welcome back to the channel. Why did I do this hop thing? I don't know. So before we get into today's video, please check out patreon.com/alteredwalters. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a tipping and rewards website where you help me make new and better content by supporting me. So with that being said, today we're going to be talking about The Conjuring 2. The Conjuring 2 is actually the third movie in James Wan's horror trilogy thus far, although he only produced Annabelle, which is the spin-off movie of the first Conjuring, and this is now the first true sequel directed by James Wan. So, The Conjuring 2 follows the Enfield poltergeist, which is set in Enfield, England, during 1977. This is supposedly the most documented case in paranormal history. Believe it or not, you can take your own sides with paranormal things, but the Warrens are obviously probably the most publicized and well-known investigators associated with the church, and that are actually the stars of this movie. Ed Warren is played by Patrick Wilson, and Lorraine Warren is played by Vera Farmiga. She has a very weird last name that I can't pronounce. Anywho, this movie is 2 hours and 13 minutes, and it is incredible. So, I'm a huge horror fan, as hopefully you guys know. I believe in tension and atmosphere and cinematics and a proper score to deliver scares. And with that being said, I do not like jump scares. I think jump scares are cheap, overdone, and they're just not executed well normally. However, in this new movie, James Wan does use quite a few jump scare tactics to shock the audience and further along the story. With that being said, the atmosphere is still incredible. It's well made. The score is absolutely superb. The score for this movie, I cannot remember the person's name, and I know I can't pronounce it anyway because it's a lot of vowels. But the person that did the score for this movie is absolutely incredible at their job, and I hope that they keep doing horror movies specifically because they just create that atmosphere that is really, really great for a horror film. With the jump scares, I don't like them. However, they didn't feel out of place in this film. A lot of times jump scares are kind of wedged into a scene to kind of break the scene into the next scene and move the story forward without developing a plot. These actually help to develop kind of the underlying psychosis with Lorraine Warren, and it really helps to develop the story all the way up until the end. I can't recommend this enough. It is actually probably better than the original, which with sequels, the famous thing is sophomore slump, where normally the next movie is not as good and things like that. However, I feel like every James Wan movie, the next one is better. I went into this with pretty high expectations. I believe it's sitting around like an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, which take that as you will, but it is a great movie, and I'm actually going to give it, out of a 10, I'm going to give it an 8.5. The only reason I'm docking any points off of it, really, is the fact that there are quite a few jump scares, and I had an awful experience at the cinema, which I know doesn't take the movie. That's not the movie's fault, but the experience did kind of dwindle the movie for me due to the horrible audience I was with. And if you are a preteen, teenager, or young adult in a movie theater, please shut the fuck up, okay? Thank you. We all paid our money to be here. I'm way bigger than you. Please shut the hell up while I watch my films. So, back to the review. 8.5 out of 10 is a great score. I really recommend you see it. I already have the Blu-ray pre-ordered, and I cannot wait to watch the special features on this film. There are a couple moments that are clearly CG, and the CG in this movie is just impeccable. It's very, very well done. It's very convincing. However, there is one aspect of the haunting that I felt was almost, it kind of reminded me of like an anime. It's very over the top, very stylized, and it just felt out of place in James Wan's typical macabre style. And that was kind of the biggest complaint of mine, was just that this character felt out of place in the rest of this universe that's very fleshed out and dark and cinematic and gritty. This just felt a little cartoony and odd. Overall though, I really do recommend you guys go see this in theaters. Normally I'm all about watch it on Blu-ray or VOD or whatever, but I really think this movie should be experienced on the silver screen with the dark, lighting and the loud system, the people around you who hopefully don't talk too much and, scream and make jokes. But it really is a movie that's made for the cinema. So please go check that out. Leave me a comment down below if you've seen it or movies you want me to review and talk about. Like the video, it helps me out a ton, and I will see you next time. Bye!